Good morning, everyone. So today we are going to set the time restriction and also some recharge object for our character. So how can we set up the time restriction for this game? Actually, the idea is pretty simple. We just reduce the health point of the character for every maybe 5 seconds or 3 seconds. And once it's over time, then your character will be dead and the game will be over. So that's the time restriction. We don't have to design a new system to set up the time restriction. We just make the character's health point be reduced for every maybe 5 seconds or 3 seconds. So it will be done. Let's start to do that. First thing is let's open up the third person character blueprint. And here, that's the original code. If you remember, we're using event tag to update the health point data on the screen and by using the print string component. And right here, that's the formula about how our character will be damaged. We're using hurt algorithm and the ground hurt algorithm to do that part. And once the computer finishes the calculations, and it will send the data back to the health point and reset your health point. And finally, once your health point is smaller than 0, your character will be dead. And if it's still bigger, then the entire algorithm will keep running. So just like a loop. So for now, how can we set a time restriction? How do we make our character's health point be reduced by every maybe 3 seconds or 5 seconds? It's very simple. We're still using this one. And right here, I have already write a code for this part. So we're still using the event tag. But if you just directly using event tag, it will base on the delta second to do the computation. So it will be too fast and too frequent to do that. So the things we have to do is to code delay. Let's code this one. Or you can just code them here. Let's try to code them here because I don't want to. Okay, let's unconnecting this part. Hold on your Alt key and you can unconnect that part. Alright, so let's code the delay from here. Delay, D-L-A-Y, this one. So you can set up probably for every 2 seconds. Otherwise, it will be too fast. So let's using this one, delay. And for the second one, we have to set up a logic sequence, a component that it names branch. So let's call this one branch right here. So the branch will help you to define which way you want to go. If your script satisfies the conditions, so it will become true. If it's not satisfy the condition, it will go false. Okay, so let's try to do that. So what's the condition? Basically, it's very simple. It's just about the formula for reducing the health point. So let's recall that. Basically, if you want, you can just let's undo that. That's a reference. Let's put them on the side. So we can actually copy this part. Control C and select all of them. Hold on Shift key. Select all of them. Control C and Control V. Copy this one. So we're still using subtract, and we're still using health point. For this part, we can just temporarily delete them. So for the second one, we have to create a new variable. I already have one, which named HPR. Let's recreate a new one. Click this plus icon and call this one HP SEC reduction. Okay, and turn this one to float. It's very important. Otherwise, the data type is not right. So once we finish this one, let's drag them here, choosing get HP second reductions. So now let's connect this to here. So we have already finished the formula. But right now we haven't set up this part. So let's choosing save and compile. So now the default value of the HP second reduction will show up. Let's set up maybe 30. 30 is too much. 15. So basically, if our health point is 150, well, we have to finish the game in 10 seconds. Oh, I think it's too much. Maybe 5. 5 would be better. Okay, so now we have already finished the formula. The next part we have to do is to define whether it's still bigger than 0 or not. So let's code that one. Drag and find lot bigger and or greater. And for that part, yes, 0, it has to be greater than 0. And if it's greater than 0, let's go to here. And we can keep working on the next we can keep moving for the next part. So which means reset the health point. So now let's get this one, choosing set. So we can using this component to reset the number of your health point. Let's go to here, connect the executing output to here. Alright, pretty much done. And what's the health point? The health point will be here. So let's connect this to here. Okay, we can organize them, double click, and you can create another temporary component. So you can use this component to organize and refresh your the structure of your blueprint. Okay, so once we finish this one, we can connect here using this one to replace a health point because this is the latest health point. Connect them to here, so we don't need this one anymore. Okay, so that's it. Let's take a look. I think right now we don't need that anymore. We forget one important thing. How about false condition? If it's false, then our character is supposed to be dead. So let's copy the death component to here. That's something we have already done before. If you don't have this one, please do that by yourself, okay? So if the condition is false, which means the health point is smaller than 0, so our character will be dead. So that's the idea. Okay, so now we can delete all of this and let's take a look. So basically this part, let's choose all of them. We can right click, create a command for selection. So this is about the HP reduction per seconds. Okay, and here that's the health point setting. For the I think obstacle and the ground. So let's create a command from selections. Damage. Okay, that's the damage from obstacle. And right here, so far, I think that we don't need to mention this one anymore. Let's put them here. I want them then be organized, so you can do that by yourself, okay? You don't have to completely follow my operation, but I prefer to make them look like organized. Okay, here. So here is the print string, and here is the death condition. Once this one, once it has been heard and the health point is smaller than 0 again, well, you will be dead. Your player will be dead. Okay, so the upper part basically is just about to show up the health point data. Alright, let's choose all of them, create the, right click, create a comment. So that's about, I think we don't need this one, otherwise there are too many groups. Okay, so that's it. Let's go through this one, okay? So first thing, we're using event tag to update the health point data. And right here we have two sections. One is for print strings, which means print the health point data. Another one is to calculate the reduction per second. So we're using this way to separate a single to different branch. And we're using delay to slow down the reducing speed. So for every 2 seconds, it will send up a single. And based on this single, the character's health point will be reduced. So right here, based on this formula, the health point and the HP second reduction, we're using this tool to do the calculation. So once your character's health point is smaller than 0, your character will be dead. If it's bigger than 0, then it will keep moving forward and do the next part of the calculation. So for the second part, it will help you to calculate the damage from obstacle. I think there's something wrong here. Okay, obstacle. So one is the hurt. I think this one is for the crash rock, the rock obstacle. Another one is the ground hurt damage. Okay, so both of them will create some damage for your character. I want to choose this one, but right now it's a little bit hard to choose that. Okay, something like that. So right here, that's the final print string. So we connect the final health point to here. And again, if it's smaller than 0, and if the condition is true, then your character will be dead. So that's the idea. Alright, so let's choosing compile and save. Let's go back to third person map and start to play. So you can see right now for every second our character will be reduced health point. Okay, let's try to finish this game as soon as possible. Alright, okay, cool. So this is the safe zone. Jump. Wow. I'm dead. So that's the idea, okay? So that's the first part about how to set up the time restriction. But since right now our health point will be reductive per second, for sure we have to create some recharging object. So that's the second part. So now let's start to do the recharging object. Let's go back to the RY blueprint folder and right click blueprint class actor. Let's call this blueprint object BP recharging health point. Double click enter this blueprint. Now it's empty, so we have to create some object inside. First thing, let's choose an add. And I want the shape looks like cube. And actually you can go to download some 3D model, maybe like fruits, some maybe gems, or maybe another bottle of milk, something like that to do this recharging object. But right now I just want to use in cube. Let's choosing this cube and go to details, go to find material setting and change another material. And I already have some emissive material. Let's call that one. So now this one will be shining. So next things we have to set up is the collision, because once our character touch this one, we need to have some signal sent to the next component. So we need to create a collision box. Let's go to here and go to find collision, box collision. And let's choosing the box collision, you can see that right now it's under the cube, which means this one is the parent and this one is the son. The son will always follow the movement of the parent. Let's choosing the box, choosing scale up, and let's scale up. Alright, make sure the collision box will cover the entire cube. So now it has already been done. The next part I'd like to do, because this one I want people to know that this is the health point rechargers. So for sure we can try to add on some text or some special effect. So the first thing I'd like to do is the special effect. I want this one can have some movement. Let's call rotating. Once you have this one, the object will keep rotating. And here there's the rotating rate. Right now is 180. You can reduce the number here. The next part, I want to add on some special effect. Let's go to the starter content and let's go to particles. Let's maybe using Spark. Spark looks cool. Let's choose this one. Drag them here. Alright. So probably we have to move this one up. Spark 2. Alright, so now compile and save. Let's take a look about how it looks like. So let's go to the folder and drag the recharging health point to here. Let's play. So you can see that right now it will keep rotating. Okay? So the next things I'd like to do, because right now it looks all the same. I mean, it looks pretty much the same, just like the spawning point and also probably the winning zone. So I want to change the color. Let's go to the REY material. I have some different material here. Let's duplicate one more, duplicate. Right click and duplicate. Double click, I'd like to change the color. So maybe for this one, let's use in the green color. Okay, some more green. Okay, because right now the intensity is too strong, so we cannot, it's hard for us to see the color difference. But so let's reduce the intensity of the color, choosing save. Okay, so let's close, go here, and choosing another emissive material. Let's go to here, RAY, emissive material 2. So now it has become green. Alright, so I think it's pretty much done. Now let's go to the event graphic. This part, it will help us to finish the recharging algorithm. So how can we do that? Very simple. First things, we have to make sure once our character touch the recharging box, and it will activate the algorithm, right? That's the idea. So right here, let's choosing the collision box, right click, choosing add event. And the things we have to use is the add component begin overlap, this one. And the next thing we have to call our third person character, I mean here. So that's choosing, if you remember, it's very similar to the Smash box. Choosing cast to. Let's find your character, the BP. Okay, here. Third person character, that's our character, right? And what's the object? An object is the other actor, which means the third person character. So for the next part, the things we are going to use is the health point set. So let's go to here. Let's take a look. We have to set up the custom event here, just like this one. We have the hurt, we have the ground hurt. So we also have to set up the recharging algorithm, the recharging event component. So let's click the new, not the event graphic. Undo that. Delete. Right click, choosing custom event, this one. And let's call this one health point recharge. Okay, so that's the object we are going to use for recharging your object. And how can we do that? The first thing we have to save and compile. So now if we click, and you can see that we can using the input to increase new object. So right here, let's create a new variable, float, and let's call this one HP recharge. Okay, so now we have compile and save again. So we can do that later, because after this we have to go back to here and to reset another algorithm that can help us to add the health point recharging to here. But let's go to here first. So now we have already set up the recharge, this one, the HP recharge algorithm. So the things we have to do is to call that one. Okay, So we call that one here. And what's the target object? The target object will be the third person character. And we can set up the number here. I think let's just directly promote to variable. And we can set up the number here. So how much it is? I think probably for every time, once you touch this one, you can get 30 points back. Okay. So next thing is, once you touch this recharge point, for sure this one's supposed to be delayed. So let's do that part of the formula again. Let's go to the box collision, right click, choosing add event, and this time we are going to use add on component and overlap, choosing this one. The next thing is, again, we still have to cast to the third person character because the target object will be the third person character. Ctrl C and Ctrl V, copy this one again. Connect to here, and the object will be here. Alright? And next part, once it leaves the collision box, once your character leaves the collision box, the recharged object will be destroyed. So let's go to find destroy actor. Okay? Something like this. So now compile and save. Next things we have to do is to reset the health point. So very simple. Let's just try to using another formula. Let's go to find add. Let's choosing add. Okay, here. So the add number will be here, and the health point will be here. Okay, and so once we finish the health point, I think actually we can put them as one. So let's connect this one to here. We don't need to then reset the health point here. That will be more simple. Leave some space here. So which means once we finish the calculation of the damage, also we have the health point recharges. And here it will reset the entire health point. Okay, I think that's all. Okay. That we can do the notation later. Let's choosing compile and save, and take a look about the algorithm here. Alright, everything is fine. And here we have the health point rechargers. Okay, everything looks fine. Good. Because we forget to connect this executing point to here. Otherwise, it won't work. So let's drag and put them here. Okay. So I think right now it's pretty much done. Let's choosing compile and save again. And let's try to put some rechargers on the pathway. So I already have one, so maybe let's put another one on the platformer here. And probably also here. On every platformer, I want to put this one. I want to put rechargers. Okay, so that's the idea. So next part, let's try to play. Don't forget to save your file before you start the simulation. Let's start to play. Alright, my health points start to get in reduction. And once I touch this one, okay, my health point get recharged. So it works. Alright, let's keep moving forward. Alright, anyway, let's try to get here. Okay, my health point got recharged again. Okay. So it means our recharge object works. So I think that's all for today. And we have already finished the recharging object that can reset our health point. Also, we have already set up the time restriction by reducing our health point per second. So right now, I think the entire game system mechanism is pretty much done. So for the next part, we are going to do the music visualizer, and so that hopefully we can using that to increase the difficulty of this game. Alright? So that's all for today. See you next time.